If I had my way, everything would be so nice. This world would be like Paris. No, it would be a paradise. No one would ever have to say, I'm gonna get my wish someday. All one would have to do is say, this is my order, if you may. Welcome to another episode of The School Without Walls. I am Antonio Hobbs, host and founder of this educational program. The major purpose of this program is to help the African American community educationally, economically, and spiritually. And once we do that, we will be helping the United States of America. We have too many young African American males, especially, that are in prison, committing crime and so forth. And we need you pastors out there to work with us as mentors. If you do not have the time to become a mentor, find someone in your church who is a mentor. I want to send a shout out to Calvin Booker, who is the president of the University of Arkansas Alumni Association and the Friends of the University of Arkansas here at Pine Bluff. We need you to work with Chancellor Alexander to increase the student population from 2,600 to 4,000 over the next 2 years. In order to help you to remember the goal, I have a little something here. 4,015, that's 4,015 students by 2015. I don't think Chancellor Alexander would mind if we have 15 extra students. Join with our president, Mr. Calvin Booker, and he feels that we can do this in 1 year. So let's try to raise the student population from 2,600 to 4,000 by the next school year. If all of the alumni get involved, we can do that. My guest today is the Reverend Tonya Lambert-Boyce. I should say the Reverend Dr. Tonya Lambert-Boyce, who is the founder and executive director of the Eternal Grace Full Gospel Outreach Ministry. Glad to have you with me today.
Good to be here.
Good, good. What I want you to do before we talk about your ministry, tell us a little bit about yourself. You know, I'm acquainted with you, but I want you to speak of, tell me who your parents are. We want to hear you talk a little bit. Your parents are Mr. and Mrs.?
James and Pearline Lambert. I'm a native of Pine Bluff, Arkansas, and a graduate of the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff.
How about that?
I have a twin sister who now lives in Florida. I have a brother that still lives here in Pine Bluff and a brother that lives in Texas. Also, I have 2 children who graduated from Pine Bluff High School.
Okay.
And now they are attending Henderson State University and the University of Arkansas at Little Rock.
I remember those children when they were babies. Was it the boy who was an artist at an early age, or the little girl?
My son.
He was an artist by gift.
Yes.
Did he continue that skill?
Doing school, he won several awards. He now is majoring in mass communications, and he wants to be an attorney and a broadcaster.
Now, I believe you said he's already graduated. He's working on his master's now?
Well, he's still in school.
Oh, but he's not here.
No, sir, he goes to Henderson State University.
How did you let him get up there? That's okay.
That he wanted to stretch his wings and experience a different city.
And he's in mass communication, did you say?
Yes.
Okay, that's a good area for broadcasting, and he also wants to be an attorney.
Yes, sir.
Does he still draw?
Yes, he does.
Is that sort of on the back burner?
Yes, right now.
He didn't get any special school training in college in drawing, or did he? Did
No,
he take any art
it was
courses?
just a natural God-given talent that he received.
What about the girl?
My daughter is a freshman at the University of Arkansas at Little Rock, and she plans to major in nursing.
I see. And Reverend Boyce is your husband. What is his first name?
Welton.
Welton Boyce.
And he is the father of several children. And on your resume, you mentioned, I saw where one was in China. Is that right?
Yes.
Tell me about that.
His son,
Yeah.
Welton Andrew, recently graduated from the University of Arkansas at Fayetteville, majoring in history and South American studies, but he's teaching now in China, in Beijing. He's been there about 6 weeks now.
Now, how did that happen? He's majoring in South American studies and whatever, and he goes to China. How did that happen?
Well, in school, he had several Asian roommates, and he just became acquainted with and fell in love with the Asian culture and decided to go to China to teach.
Now, he doesn't speak Chinese, does he?
He does not.
So I realize that you can teach a language as a foreigner, but I was just wondering if he had learned the Chinese language yet.
No, he's actually teaching English to Chinese students.
To Chinese students. There's a way to do that without being able to speak that language. That's interesting, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay, now also we have 2 more minutes in this section. You're a minister now. Tell them who your father in the ministry is.
Well, my father in the ministry happens to be Dr. Hobbs. When I was called to the ministry, I was a member of Allen Temple African Methodist Episcopal Church.
Yeah.
And Dr. Hobbs was the pastor during that time, and he mentored me, and he really taught me several things that I needed to know to go out and help others and a church of my own. And as a result of that, I've been pastoring ever since.
All right, let's give Dr. Hobbs a hand for that.
Okay.
Nothing like a little fun every now and then,
Yes.
is it, Randy? It's about time for us to stop at this side. We'll continue on the other side of the break, and we'll be back shortly.
When you're out there, there's no telling what you'll find.
I see it, I see it! Oh, look at you.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org.
El 28 de octubre del 2012, New York City y New Jersey fueron devastados por el huracán Sandy, pero para algunas personas, el día anterior fue un día como cualquier otro. Un día como hoy. Prepárese para mañana. Time to wake up.
I've got a job to do today.
I've got a job to do today.
Don't forget, you've got a job to do today.
Hey, Mom. I got the job. Thanks. I've got the job. Welcome aboard.
Have a good first day at work, Mom.
Your donations to Goodwill fund job training programs right in your community.
Feels good to start fresh, right?
Sure does. And like that, you're a job creator.
Those of you who have just joined us, I'm Antonio Hobbs, host of this educational program called The School Without Walls. My guest today is the Reverend Dr. Tonya Lambert-Boyce. She's the wife of the Reverend Welton Boyce, who's a pastor of Mount Olive AME Church in Terry, Arkansas. We were talking about your education. After graduation from the university here in 1991, you went on to Jackson Theological Seminary and studied some there, right?
Yes, Jackson Theological Seminary is a school of the African Methodist Episcopal Church located on Shorter College campus in North Little Rock. After studies there, I attended the Jefferson Regional Medical School Chaplains Program. And there I was able to hone my skills a little more in order to better serve the community.
I see. Also, I noticed, and I was surprised to learn that you had a doctorate degree. Tell me a little bit about that degree.
Okay. That was a distance learning program from the University of Santa Catalina, and it was a very exciting program because I could study at home, take care of my children, work, but still devote my attention to furthering my education of religious matters.
Now, what are some of the things you learned in that toward the doctorate that you didn't already know at Jackson, that you didn't get at Jackson Theological Seminary?
I think the most important thing that I learned is everyone has a different theology, and that theology is based upon your upbringing. And we examined, there's a feminist theology, there's an African American theology, there's a male theology. How we are formed or shaped in our early lives actually affects our view of God.
So true.
Yes.
So true.
And so we were able to study different theologies.
That's very interesting because I am a firm believer in what you said, and therefore I think as African Americans we need to study more theology on our own rather than just acquiring the theology that derived from the the American slave theologians. That's very important, don't you think?
Yes.
Because you said it, their perspective of God should not be exactly our perspective of God because we've had a different experience in the world. Yes. If we don't understand that, then we become puppets to those people's religion.
Yes,
Same
that's
thing
correct.
with the feminine. The female has had a different experience in the world because she's never had any experience as being a male, right?
That's correct.
So her theology could not be exactly as that of a male. And I think we all, as theologians or pastors, should keep these perspectives in mind as we practice our faith.
Yes, I totally agree.
Yes. That's I'm glad you brought that out because I'm conscious of so many of my people, African Americans, just haven't had any systematic study at all. They're just working on the grace of God that came from their grandparents out of slavery, and we're living at a time now where we need to go know God for ourselves through systematic study, right?
Yes.
Okay, well that's very good. Now, you also pastored some churches that I pastored earlier. Was it Dirk Chapel at Oldtimer?
Wabaseka.
It was Wabaseka,
yes.
Right, okay.
Very small community, but the people there have big hearts, and I really learned a lot from the people there.
And also at Clarendon, is that
That's
right?
correct.
St. Andrew?
Yes.
I see. Was the Williams there when you passed, or had they passed
Yes,
on?
they were there.
They were there.
Yes. Mrs. Williams would feed us after church every Sunday. They didn't have a lot of money to pay me, and she would feed my family every Sunday after church.
That family was very faithful. Do you know whether they're still living or not?
I do believe they have passed. I know Mr. Williams has passed on. I believe Mrs. Williams is with family out of state.
I see. I know when I passed by there, their home was right near the highway, and it doesn't look like they live there anymore.
That's
I can
correct.
sort of sense the cars and things like that. Okay, let's talk a little bit now about your business. What inspired you to become the founder of Eternal Grace Full Gospel? How did that happen?
It's funny that you mentioned that. Since you have a school without walls, I envisioned a church without walls, where you wouldn't be confined to a Sunday morning service or a Wednesday night prayer service, but you would have something going on every day, something that would impact and touch the lives of others. whether it meant feeding them, not only spiritually, but physically as well, mentoring them, just anything that was a need in the community, you would be right there.
I see.
I've been called to homes in the middle of the night just to do maybe crisis intervention. I had one particular family that called me. Their mother was in labor. They had my phone number. They couldn't reach any of their relatives. And my husband and I went over and stayed with the mother of some of the children that came to my after-school program until the ambulance arrived. So my vision was to have an outreach that would go beyond your typical Sunday morning service.
That's excellent, and I really feel that all churches should have that same attitude, but they don't. Traditionally, that was the church. But now the church seems to be basically a weekend affair for 2 hours. But we have the facilities in most churches. We have the fellowship hall, we have the educational building, we have the space, but we don't seem to have the time, right?
Yes.
So may God bless you in this endeavor. Now, does your husband help you at all in this now?
Oh yes, because in order to do what I do, I had to devote myself full time to it. So my husband supports me financially, and he supports me emotionally, and even on his days off from work, he volunteers at the center, and the kids really enjoy him coming.
I would think that when you go places at night, you would need his company too. It's not safe for a woman to be out too much at night, is it?
That's correct.
Yeah, he should be with you on occasions like that.
Yes.
I believe we're in the second segment here, and we have about 1 minute before this break. So if I'm correct, we're going to break, and we'll be back in just a few minutes for the final segment.
All right, I know this isn't any fun to talk about, but we should. Okay, so who's gonna do what?
I'll pack the dead batteries.
Great.
I'll only put what I don't need into a duffel bag.
Perfect. That's totally unhelpful.
No problem.
Meanwhile, I will try to comfort everyone by speaking in a calm voice.
And I'll try to get the generator going without any gas.
Oh, let's not forget the cell phones, which probably won't work.
Right.
And who is going to handle supplies?
I can forget to do a list for us.
Thanks, pal.
Well, I think we couldn't be any less prepared. I'm proud of you guys.
Talk to your kids about who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Visit ready.gov/kids for tips and information.
They said I couldn't dream. Called me a piece of trash and swore that's all I'd ever be. Said a bottle couldn't see the ocean. Give up. Go back to the dumpster. But I didn't listen. I made my way. And now, I am what I've always wanted to be.
Those of you who have just joined us, I'm Antonio Hobbs, host and founder of this educational program. My guest today is the Reverend Dr. Tonya Lambert-Boyce, who's the founder and executive director of the Eternal Grace Full Gospel Outreach Ministry. What is the population you have now? You have young people mostly, right?
Yes, the population that we serve are at-risk youth, which are 18 years of age or younger. They are at risk due to being in a certain financial class. They live at the poverty level, or they may have a broken home. They may be at risk because they have not had an opportunity to socialize with other students. We also serve students who would otherwise go hungry because of their financial situation. And sometimes their financial situation is caused by incarcerated parents or parents that have been laid off from work or have become underemployed. And so we reach out to those. But we also have ones that come from two-parent homes. Anyone can come to our program.
This, do we have many in this community that are in that status?
Yes.
Students here? There's a great need for this type of program?
In Pine Bluff, between 65 and 80% of the students qualify for a free or reduced lunch because of their income level.
That is amazing.
And so we reach the students who otherwise may not be able to eat after school until the next morning. They come to the center, and we're located at 1605 Brentwood, and we start serving a full supper every day from 3:30 to 4:30 p.m. and we serve snacks from 4:15 to 5:15 each afternoon.
Now, do you have a tutoring program, a teaching component of this? You do more than feed them, do you not?
While they are there, we offer tutoring, we offer activities, we have learning videos, we also have a Girl Scout site. We even have an opportunity for our students to earn money. We partnered with Pearson, the company that manufactures and administers the standardized tests. We pay our students to take portions of the test so Pearson can revise their own test. So we give them opportunities.
Does Pearson come to your site, or you have to take them to some place?
No, they come to my site, no, and I administer the test along with some others. They authorize us to administer those portions of the test.
I see. I also heard you say earlier that you and your husband both are certified mentors. Is that?
Yes.
Explain that to the community. What do you mean by certified mentors?
There's a new program now called Wraparound Services. It's going to, in March of next year, it's actually going to become Medicaid billable, where if you have students at risk of being removed from their home because they're receiving services through the mental health center, or they are in foster care, or they are in the juvenile justice system, we are partnering with the Wraparound Services, which right now is administered through the Southeast Arkansas Behavior Health Care Center, to mentor the children in order to identify the areas that they need in order for them to stay in their own home. And my husband and I attended a 2-day certification training to become mentors for that program on last month.
I see. Well, that is very interesting. What is the largest number of young people you've had at one time?
Okay. Well, during the summer, we have a summer feeding program, and we feed as many as 400 a day.
Come on now.
Yes.
400?
We feed the local bands, plus we have our site where they can come
local
in.
Bands?
Yes.
What do you mean
We
by
found out a couple of years ago that some of the students, while they were attending band camp during the summer, could not leave. And so since we found out that they would otherwise go hungry, we partnered with the local band directors and the superintendent who gave us permission, and we feed those children.
Those are the high school or
junior high and high school band students.
Of any particular district or just schools?
Well, they have programs just like mine that will also feed the Dollar school districts. We focused on the Pine Bluff school districts, but right now in my after-school program, we're averaging around 40 to 50 a day.
I see. You have any help with you?
Yes, I have volunteers. I have a sister-in-law that works for me. I also have a young man, and my husband also volunteers on his day off. Even my mother volunteers. And we are in the need for volunteers, kitchen supplies, craft supplies. Because I don't have a grant for what we do, I only rely on private donations and reimbursement for the meals through USDA. And so we really need partners.
Where do most of your reimbursements come from? What source, what type of people are mostly donors, cash donors?
Business owners or just people. I really don't have many business owner donations, just private donations from individuals that know what we're doing.
I see. The churches, don't any of the churches make a donation?
Actually, when the local churches here were having their annual conference, the African Methodist Episcopal Church recently held their annual conference for their conference, and it was during the time where we were having our government shutdown, and I was not sure if I was going to be able to operate during the government shutdown, and St. John AME Church donated food to the program.
Alvin Smith
Yes,
is the pastor?
is the pastor.
That's my pastor. He's a fine man.
Yes, he is.
So he donated food, you say?
Yes, during that time that we weren't sure if we were going to get any reimbursement during the government shutdown.
What I'm going to ask him to do is, I'm going on record as asking him, we give benevolent, we have benevolent offering every Sunday, and I'm going to ask him to coordinate this with the other AME churches here and try to have some systematic way of giving you some funds.
Okay, that would be wonderful, because I actually pick up students who cannot come to my center on their own, and sometimes I really have to struggle to put enough gas in the vehicles to get them to the
How
program.
many vehicles do you have?
I have 2.
Those are your personal vehicles?
Yes, that I bought and donated to the center.
Now, something else that the churches could do too, they could also provide transportation, because several of them have vehicles. For example, Ward Chapel, I think, has a nice bus van. We're to purchase one in a few months. I don't think Allen Temple has one, do they?
No, they do not.
But I'm going to see if I can get him to coordinate an effort to give you X number of dollars every month, because we pay pretty well into benevolence, and I think that is much better than just having somebody to drift in, you know, and give them something. Of course, our churches give to the disasters, storms, and so forth. We're going to have to stop for this segment. You have the last word. What does you want to say about your business, about anything, before we sign off today?
Okay. I would like to say to Pine Bluff, there are positive things that are going on in the community. Not just my program, but there are other agencies out there, and we always hear the negative things about Pine Bluff, but there are actually people who are actually working to make this a better place to live. And if we all work together and partner with each other, then Pine Bluff can once again become the city it used to be.
Well, thank you. Let us stop on that, and hopefully I'll see you on the 6th of November, 1 p.m.
Okay,
God bless you.